Over 35 years ago, when the ministry first began, I used to joke with Terrell about the fact that the way out, the acronym TWO, meant me and you, baby. It's just me and you doing this work. We were doing ministry all the time. We did have volunteers, of course, and eventually we had a few staff members that joined us, but it just seemed like it was always us. I always had a desire to be a national ministry. I always thought that maybe the Way Out Ministries could replicate our programs in other states. But that didn't materialize over the years. And then I finally realized, well, you know, Hawaiian Gardens is enough. God is doing a great work here in the city, and it's enough. After all, 1 square mile does have 22,000 people. And that was enough for two. Little did I know that we would not become a national ministry, we would become an international ministry. The Way Out Ministries began as a discipleship ministry. We were always concerned with youth, community, and relationships. The amazing thing is in the Philippines, we're doing exactly the same thing. It's about youth, community, and relationships. It's about discipleship. It's about individual relationships with people. When we began our ministry in Hawaiian Gardens, California, it was because of a relationship that Terrell and I had with two children that introduced us to the people, the culture, the community that we ended up falling in love with. Same thing happened in the Philippines when we met a Filipino who had a love and a passion for her homeland. And we were introduced to the Philippines, fell in love again with the culture, with the people, and especially with a little city named San Jose in Occidental Mindoro. I remember our first trip to the Philippines. I had no idea what to expect. Terrell and I both were on an adventure. And of course, the adventure began with a 14-hour plane ride that just seemed to never end. And when we finally landed in Manila, I was just struck by the amazing amount of people that were there. So many people and so much traffic. And then after we were in Manila for a little while, we then got on a plane and headed towards Occidental Mindoro, San Jose, and it was completely different. It was a beautiful, more quiet island. The people were very friendly, very outgoing. And a matter of fact, I remember us feeling like, God, we feel like we came home, almost to Hawaiian Gardens again. The little children ran up to us and reminded us so much of our first experiences in Hawaiian Gardens, walking down the streets and having groups of kids run after us. They didn't know us as strangers. It was almost like we knew them. When I first met Mark and Divine in person, I could really see that they had such a love and such a devotion to the people around them, much like Terrell and I had when we started ministry in Hawaiian Gardens. Mother and son also, two mind you, beginning the ministries. We ended up hiring Divine Canapit as our director of ministries there in the Philippines. She proved in so many ways that she was very capable. And I remember when we presented that job to her, she got tears in her eyes and she began to cry. And she said, I feel so blessed of God. I feel like this is something that God wants me to do, and I'm very humbled by the fact that He's called me to do this. Mark was so dedicated to the building project. Even before he received any pay, he was sleeping at the facility to make sure it was secure. I remember he called me up one time in the U.S. after we had started building, and he said, Pastor, I have some bad news for you. The building is not secure. As we've taken off the roof to make the walls higher and put a new roof on the building, I realized that there's no rebar in the walls. We're gonna have to tear it down and build it right. And I remember I was taken by that because of the expense that it would cost. But he said, no, we need to build this right. it's a disaster waiting to happen. We rebuilt that whole building from the ground up. And now that place is a solid fortress. That's exactly the song that went through my head. A mighty fortress is our God when I saw the building for the first time. On our second visit, completed a very strong, secure building. He did an amazing building job. The building has staff housing, also has housing for the pastor that we will be calling and his family. We also have a large meeting room which can be divided into two for Bible studies, for different classes, for kids programs. It is very much a little way out ministries in the Philippines. We were able to adopt a little church, just a foundation with a leaky roof. Today it is now got walls, windows, and doors. On our first trip to the Philippines, we were worshiping in that little church, and my first thought was, oh my gosh, this church needs some air conditioning. And that was without walls, windows, and doors. Today we have that church built. It's looking beautiful, and it does have air conditioning. And on our second trip, I really appreciated that addition. We're also looking for a pastor for that church. The church has had a rocky past, 14 years old, but has gone through 4 pastors. We're looking for a pastor that we can partner with, one that will have the vision of the Way Out Philippines, one that will have a desire to disciple and to evangelize the people in that community. It's really wonderful to see the connection between our church in the United States, The Gathering, with Chapel by the Beach in the Philippines. Last Christmas, we were able to do our first outreach through our church, where we were able to sponsor gift bags for kids, t-shirts, a present, some hygiene kits, and a little bit of food for their family. This Christmas, we're looking at doing the same sort of thing. We started a line called Mahal Kita, which means I love you in Tagalog, where people will be making jewelry in the Philippines and will be selling it in the United States in order to raise funds to fuel the ministry in the Philippines. So now the people are actually able to even participate in fundraising. That's an exciting thing. Our first sales here brought us $1,000. It's really wonderful to see the connection between our church in the United States, The Gathering, with Chapel by the Beach in the Philippines. Our goal for the end of this year is to finish the building projects that we started by putting air conditioning in all of the rooms. And of course, if you end up going with us to the Philippines, you'll really appreciate that because it's hot there and very humid. We also want to put a new septic tank and bathrooms, our comfort rooms as they're called in the Philippines, at Chapel by the Beach. The bathroom there now is absolutely unacceptable for any guests that might want to come to church. Those two things will complete the projects that we've already started. Another way that you can help out the Way Out Philippines is by becoming a partner in mission, giving regularly to the Way Out Ministries. That will assure us of paying our staff salaries and paying for the food that feeds the children at the food program each week, and taking care of the needs that we have at the building, like electric and water and different things like that. These partnerships, so oftentimes people think, well, my little bit won't help that much. Well, your little bit goes a long way there because there's so much poverty there. So anything that you can give monthly would be so appreciated. Please also be in prayer with us as we search for a pastor for Chapel by the Beach, one that is a discipler, one that shares the vision of the Way Out Ministries Philippines, and one that will love the Lord with all of his heart, soul, and strength. Please be in prayer with us about that. We look forward to your partnership with us at the Way Out Ministries Philippines.